Tampon Tim, the people's friend. Free tampons for all the men. Daycare's full of kids, well, kinda. But the money goes to my dear friends from Somalia. Hey, 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 hey. Fraud all day. Billions gone astray. Ghost kids, no one's there. Welcome to Tampon Tim's Daycare. Tampons in the boys' room, that's my plan. While my friends cash checks across the land. Feeding our future, what a name. Empty buildings, still the same. Hey, hey, fraud all day. Billions gone astray. Ghost kids, no one's there. Welcome to Tampon Tim's Daycare. Tampon Tim, hey, Tampon Tim fraud.
Good morning, Patriots. How you doing today? This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from the downtown metropolis of LaMonte, Missouri on the second day of 2026. Donald Trump put out a video that said the season of 2025 has ended. That is a word. The season of 2025 has ended, and now the season of 2026 has begun. Where will it go? I don't know. We will see. That was the new hit theme song, Tampon Tim. Hope you liked that one. And thank you, Mike, for that. I appreciate it. Well, you're awesome. You know, if you want to contribute to the show, it's real easy to do. You can support my products. Links are in the description section. You can hit the thumbs up. You can share it. You can hit the heart button. The like button, wherever you're at, because I broadcast this Friday. I'm broadcasting on all the channels. So however you do it, I really appreciate it. It helps spread the word, spread the show. And I will not be out here. Just a solemn oath for 2026. will not be out here spreading Patriot mythology, nor will I be out here buying bots to increase my base so that I could be the #1 podcaster. I will not be promoting foreign AI crypto social media pages. Won't be doing that. There's a gazillion other things that I won't be doing, I promise you, just so that I can get likes and favoritisms from the platforms. Not going to do it. So the only way that my word's going to get spread, if you like what I'm saying, is by you telling somebody else about it. Those things all cost nothing. Or you could do what Mike does, and you can contribute in the chat room over on Rumble. $1, whatever you want to do. It allows you to highlight your chat. Everybody will see that what you want to say, you want everybody to notice. It'll highlight your chat. And that helps support the Patriot Mike Show. You don't have to. Mike is very generous, and I appreciate that, Mike. Where someone accused me one time in the comment section, that's the section below, not in the chat room. Someone accused me of grifting because all these mics were giving me money, and then he said that it was me. I was giving myself money. Just want to tell you that Rumble takes their fair share out of that. So it's not like I'm giving me $1, and so that to spur you guys to give, that would be dumb. I'd be in the hole, because out of that $1, Rumble takes a share of it. Part of the gig. It's the way that it works. By the way, there's a Venmo address if you don't want Rumble to get a share of it. You can do that too. But like I said, I appreciate anybody who chooses to support that way. And I just want to say this. A couple of you folks sent me Christmas cards. A couple of you put a little something in the Christmas cards. Thank you so much. My wife really likes Christmas cards and that sort of thing. And so it meant a lot to her to get those Christmas cards in the mail. And those of you, a couple, not everybody, not even the majority, put a little something in the Christmas card. I appreciate that too. I really do. It helps things go, you know. And as we kick off this new year, we'll see how everything else goes. Yes. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And the word of the day, as given by Marine in the Woods, is Luke 2:25 through 40. That's Luke 2:25 through 40. Make sure you crack open the Bible, see what God has for you today. All right, lots to talk about today. Lots going on. We got the new year. We got Zoltron officially in office. We got all kinds of things happening. We got the Somalia pirates pirating. We there's a lot going on, and so we'll have to see. We'll have to see where all of that goes. Well, that's weird. Okay. Anyways, get this thing lined up here. It's acting funny. All right, serious. Babylon Bee. Elon Musk shares Babylon Bee. Says seriously funny. If we don't fund Somali daycares, how will the children ever lear? Oh, if you don't know, it's because the Learning Center, because they didn't know how to spell Learning Center. Yes, China officially put restrictions on silver starting yesterday. Silver is trading at $73.95, going up. Gold was up at 44. It's down a little bit right now at 43.81. We'll see what happens. Samsung just purchased on the 31st. They purchased 6 months supply of silver, locked in 6 months supply of silver. Normally what they do is you just do what do they call it? There's a word for it. I can't remember. When you're constructing stuff, you get it when you need it. You don't store up a bunch of stuff, but they've went out and stored up or bought up 6 months worth of silver because they're afraid they're not going to be able to get silver. Silver's in an interesting time. So we'll see what happens. I think silver, a lot of people are predicting, well, we'll get to the silver in a minute, but a lot of people are predicting $150 silver. I don't know. We'll see. I told you on Facebook, I got a lot of pushback from that I told you to buy silver. So just my recommendation, not a recommendation. It's I'm just saying, get out there, do it. Now, several people have sent me messages or commented that they listened to me 5 years ago when I said buy silver, and they were buying silver at $15 an ounce. They're feeling pretty happy about that right now. They'll be happier on demand. Thank you. I don't know why Donna says on demand. That's what I was talking about. On demand. All of our entire industrial base is built on demand. And what that means is, instead of having big warehouses full of the products you need to build the stuff you're making, it started coming. They set up the supply chain so that on Monday you're going to need X amount of whatever product to make whatever products, right? And on Monday the truck rolls in, so you're not warehousing a whole bunch of stuff. That all costs money. So it streamlines the supply chain. The problem is what happens when something stops. What happens when the price of something shoots through the roof, of raw material shoots through the roof? What happens when you're Ford and you can't get chips to put in the pewters on your Ford F-150s? I'm just saying. People in the comment section, I predict near $100 by the end of the day. I'm not seeing that happening. But Carol, anything can happen, but I don't see it happening in the price structure right now. We'll see. See, Maureen says he listened to me at $16. Tina says she bought it $28. I bought 20 rolls of dimes. They are now $260 a roll. You're doing well. Doing well. I waited and bought around 32. You're still doing all right. Converted my IRA. I mean, that's not something I would say to do, but a lot of people are doing that. I know a lady who has worked for a manufacturing plant since she was 18 years old. She's nearing retirement. Same plant, same job. She converted her entire, about a year ago, she converted her entire 401k to silver. She says she's done very well this year. She says, I don't care about making any money. It's already 7 figures. She's been investing her entire life in this 401k that was matched by her company. And she said, I don't care about gaining anymore. I just want to preserve what I have for my retirement. So that's not something I recommend. Let's see. Jane Long says she bought it 19. Trumpet for Life says bought it 24 in 2020. 6 sleeves. I'm assuming you're meaning 6 sleeves of silver bullion. When I started buying at 28, I bought at 23. I've bought all over the place. I buy at auctions. I was buying off the street for a while, just wherever I could buy it. I remember I was at an auction one time, and the auctioneer laid out 30 dimes, silver dimes, right? Pre-1964 dimes, various. And the price was, they say, do this at auctions, you have to listen. The price was times the money. They're going to sell 1 dime times 30. So they started a dime off at $1, and I bid, and the guy bid $1.50, and then it went to $2, and it went $2.50, and it went $3 and $3.50, and then $4. I kept going because he kept going. It got to about $7.25 or so per coin, per dime. And I was like, okay, I can't. He's going to drop it on me. I can't. So I stopped bidding. And the other guy bought them all because he had to buy them all because it was times the money. Then the auctioneer laid out 30 more dimes, went $1.50. I raised my hand. No one else bid. Looking around. No one else bid. $1.50 a dime? You betcha. I bought them. Of course, it was times the money, so I had to buy them all, but I got them all for $1.50. I like buying dimes. Yeah, that worked out well. I was happy about that. I don't know what happened to that other guy. I guess he spent all his money at $7.25 or whatever it was. So that didn't work out well. Oh yeah, but it's good. I bought it 18 and 1900 gold. So you did pretty good. Now, I was just talking with my buddy Rusty Johnson Auction. Speaking of, let me just go do this right now. I just want to promote this for my buddy Rusty. He's not, and maybe y'all could get a deal. I don't know. Let's see. Auction Zip. You know where? Here, write this down. Auction Zip. auctionzip.com. That's where you go find auctions, okay? So go to auctionzip.com and search Rusty Johnson or Johnson Auctioneers. You'll find his page on AuctionZip. Cost you nothing to go to AuctionZip, by the way. And they just put a listing up for February. I think it's the 21st. I'm pulling it up right now so that I can see it. Okay, yeah, here you go. February 21st, coin and silver and coin auction at the Missouri State Fairgrounds. This will not be online. This is not he's not high tech. He's low tech, but that's okay. That's why we love him. This will not be online. However, it has his phone number and his information. If you go to auctionzip.com, and you can actually contact him, and you can do phone bids or leave bids with them, and they'll do that. Let me see here. Share screen. I'm going to show it to you. Share screen. Let's see, window. Where's AuctionZip? Okay, right there. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this with y'all. All right. You can see that, right? Right. You can see that. Okay, yeah, there it is. So this is what he's auctioning off right here on Auction Zip. And the reason I'm promoting this is, I mean, these are okay. These are Morgan Civil dollars that are graded, so they're going to bring more than silver. There's some pretty nice stuff. Those are eagles that are graded. So if you're into this sort of thing, if you want to get some silver, here you got quarters and dimes galore. But they're going to auction all this stuff off on the 21st of February. They got gold, they got silver, they got collectibles, all kinds of stuff. So I'm promoting my buddy. See right there, you got 60 Mercury dimes right there, 1934 to 1945, I think. So they've got it all listed out. So what you can do is you can go to the auctioneer's page, right there. See, it says Johnson Auction Service, right? And you can go hit the contact button, and there's his phone number right there. There's his email right there, and you can do what you can do, you know. Let me see. No, that's not that one. Take that off screen. There we go. So anyways, I just wanted to point out, since we're talking about silver and gold right now at this part, I wanted to point that out. He messaged me yesterday, was talking about it. If you decide to come to town, I probably will be working. He was talking to me. He says he needs people that knows what the stuff is to help him. So I probably will be working that auction. I don't work a lot of auctions for him, but I enjoy it when I do. It's kind of fun for me. So if you're anywhere in the area, or if you decide to come, if you're really heavy, I know one or two you maybe sorry, I was reading comments. Really into this kind of stuff. So, and there's not very often that amount of coins become available. So, yeah, come check that out if you want to. But anyways, like I said, I'll be there. So handshakes and welcomes are free, and I'll sign autographs too if you want. They're free too. So things are expensive. Yeah, they are. Some people, though, they'll spend money on that sort of thing. So anyways, we've got gold coins and silver coins. It's February 22nd. Contact the auctioneer if you want more information. Johnson Auction Service. Great people, by the way. Absolutely. You got to watch those auctioneers. Some of them are as crooked as used car salesmen, but Rusty's one of the good ones. So here is Bernie Sanders at Zoltron's inauguration as mayor of New York City.
You know, all of us have heard how Iran's opponents have called the agenda that he campaigned on radical, communistic, and absolutely unachievable. Really? That's not what we believe. In the richest country in the history of the world, making sure that people can live in affordable housing is not radical. It is the right and decent thing to do. And in the midst of a massive housing crisis, it is exactly what the people of this city and this country want and need. Providing free and high-quality childcare is not radical. Countries all over the world have done it for years. It is what our kids require if they're going to be well prepared for school, and what working parents desperately need. It is, in fact, what every city in America should be doing. Free bus transportation is not radical. It will save workers time and money, protect our environment, and make the city more efficient.
Now, just a thought going through my head as I'm listening. Free bus transportation. All this free. When you see all of the Somalian fraud going on with the healthcare, the Medicare, the daycare, the transportation, all this fraud going on, you got to wonder what these free bus fraud's going to be. And you're right, somebody has to pay for it. Let me tell you something. The only way the government can force free anything is by making slaves of everybody. What do you mean by that? Well, that bus driving down the street, somebody had to manufacture it. It costs money to buy it. It costs money to maintain it. It costs money. Got to pay the guy that's driving it. Got to put fuel in it. Even if it's electric, you got to plug it in and charge it. That's still a fee. Somebody has to pay for all that. So either you tax the heck out of people to pay for the free thing, or you make the bus driver your slave and don't pay him, or the mechanic, or the people that produce the gasoline or diesel. Those are your choices. Nothing's free is absolutely a correct statement. In fact, as a matter of fact, they're part of their thing is to raise taxes on all of New York to give free buses in New York City. But 6 months ago, Governor of New York said this.
We know that Mamdani does want to tax the rich more, bring it up about 2%. He can't do that on his own. You've previously said that you wouldn't be raising taxes. Have you reconsidered that stance?
No, I would say one energetic rally does not get me to change my positions, I assure you. But I do hear people's voices. I process what everybody says, but I'm also have to balance governing this state and making sure that those people who are actually the reason we have a generous, supportive budget that helps lift people up, it's their revenues that we tax. 1.5% of New Yorkers cover about 1/3 of our budget. That's enormous. I'm concerned about out-migration of people who are the ones who are supporting our budget. I cannot make up for that with middle-class tax increases. I cannot do that to the middle class and the struggling New Yorkers. So this is the balance. I mean, this is my position.
Get it. Where's the money come from? At some point, you got to say, where's the money coming from? Well, we could just print it. Well, New York can't print it. New York can't print it at all. Did you see what they're doing in San Francisco? I'll pull that one up here in just a minute. We'll get to that one in a minute. Don't get ahead of you. Don't get ahead of yourself, Mike. We'll talk about California in just a minute. San Francisco, they're out of their ever-loving minds. But you know, when you get these, it's easy to be a socialist in a capitalist society. But when you finally win, the only way to manage it, the only way to manage scarce resources is through distribution. That means there's going to be limits on what you can buy. And if you can't limit what people are buying, then you kill the people. Then there was not as many to feed. Problem solved. Here's Zoltran as he speaks in New York City after being sworn in on a Quran.
Beginning today, we will govern expansively and audaciously. We may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try. To those who insist that the era of big government is over, hear me when I say this. No longer will City Hall hesitate to use its power to improve New Yorkers' lives. For too long, we have turned to the private sector for greatness while accepting mediocrity from those who serve the public. I cannot blame anyone who has come to question the role of government, whose faith in democracy has been eroded by decades of apathy. We will restore that trust by walking a different path.
We are not a democracy, but what do I know? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. People trust in the capitalistic system and not the state system. And if we just trusted more in the state system, by golly gee, things would be better, wouldn't they? Because the state can take care of all of your needs. Much better than capitalism, and definitely better than that God. Speaking of, we'll get to that in just a second. Because I got some thoughts. Let me take that off the screen there. Sorry. If I don't pull that back, you can hear all that through there. But so here's some more. Zoltron says that if he was elected a Democratic socialist, he'll govern as a Democratic socialist. Translation, communist.
I was elected as a Democratic Socialist, and I will govern as a Democratic Socialist. I will not abandon my principles for fear of being deemed radical. As the great senator from Vermont once said, what's radical is a system which gives so much to so few and denies so many people the basic necessities of life. We will strive each day to ensure that no New Yorker is priced out of any one of those basic necessities. And throughout it all, we will, in the words of Jason Terrence Phillips, better known as Jadakiss or Jay to the Moi, be outside. Because
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, be outside. By allowing government to take over everything. Now, I do want to show you something, because he swore himself in by placing his hand on the Quran. And there's Letitia St. James, Letitia, soul sister with multiple homes. He's placing his hand on the Quran. Well, what does that matter, Mike? You place your hand on the Bible, the Quran, what difference does it make? Well, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. In the Bible, one of the 10 commandments is, thou shalt not bear false witness. In other words, you can't lie. If you place your hand on the Bible and do solemnly swear to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, you're placing your hand on a document that says, thou shalt not commit false witness. In other words, you can't lie. You can't lie on your brother. You can't lie on your sister, your mother, your dad, your enemy. You can't lie. You have to tell the truth. But in the Quran, it says that it is completely acceptable to lie for Allah, for the Quran, to further Islam. So he placed his hand on a document to swear to Allah, who says to lie, that he'll be honest and obey the Constitution. So when you see these people swearing in on the Bible, understand that it is doctrine, not the Bible, of the Quran. It is doctrine to lie for advantage. In the Bible, it says, don't do that. Don't use false scales. Don't do that. Don't lie to your brother. Don't bear false witness. It says that all over the Bible. That's why we use it. So understand, when Zoltron says one thing, he is obliged by his religion to lie. And let me say this. I said it, and I'm going to clarify it again. I posted it. Many people are really questioning me about this. That I said Tucker will convert to Islam. I would not be surprised. I don't know for sure. Let me clarify. Everything I wrote in that statement on Facebook, I feel like God's telling me that. I was going to write this about Candace, but I didn't feel like God was telling me to write it, so I didn't. But I'm seeing things now from other prophetic words, from other people, other pundits, whatever. Candace Owens is the same exact way. And I wouldn't be surprised. How can you say that, Mike? How can you say that? Because I was talking about this with some friends yesterday. Tucker is someone was saying in the comment, he's baptized Episcopalian. Yes. And when he converts to Islam, he'll be as faithful to Islam as he is to his Episcopalianism. You see, when you have no belief standard, when you're a Christian in name only, you go to church or mass or whatever once or twice a year, fulfilling your obligation. It makes it easy to switch over to Islam because you are disenfranchised, their words. You're dissatisfied with Christianity in its most mainstream form. And you say, gosh, darn it, just doesn't seem like these people believe it. But when I look over at Islam, them folks believe it. And it's the same God anyways, right? Right? Am I right? Am I right? It's the same God anyways. I'm just switching over to what I believe is more closer to how I relate to God. It's an easy leap for somebody who's not truly saved and doesn't truly understand the Word of God. Will he go and dress in all the garbage, all the stuff, and will he, do the call of prayer 23 times a day or whatever they do? I doubt it. But he will publicly convert. Will he change his name to Abu Muhammad Zimbabwe Tucker? No, I don't think so. But he'll publicly convert. And possibly others. I can take it or leave it. I don't really care. Other people are saying, if this doesn't happen, you're a false prophet. Well, okay. So is Jeremiah, so I'm in good stand. Just do the best that I can. I just, I believe it. I believe it. There's things that you can do to protect yourself in this world. And there's things that you can do to make a lot of money. You just got to be unscrupulous about it.
We don't need to be pirates anymore. I found a better way. Government-funded daycare. Huh? We must go to Minnesota.
In a world where some rules need to be bent.
Did we spell something wrong? Who cares? As long as they spell our names right on those $1 million checks.
Comes the story of triumph.
Remember when we had to illegally steal from innocent people like thugs? But now we're stealing from innocent taxpayers. Just like the government intended. Look at me. I'm the millionaire.
See, you just got to know how to set up a scam. There's a scam born every minute. Who says that Tucker has already converted? I don't know. Does somebody say he's already converted? I don't know. Tell me. I don't know. Well, I'll just take it for what it is right there. So here's Bernie Sanders swearing in Zoltron, his best good friend.
Please repeat after me. I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the mayor of the city of New York,
of the office of the mayor of the city of New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So you got an atheist swearing in an Islamist. You got an atheist communist swearing in Islamist who put his hand on the Quran and said, "So help me God." I'm just pointing out, just asking questions. That's all it is, just asking questions.
Does President Trump want
Remove that? Stop. Okay. I got a couple more from Zoltron here that I want to get to, and then we'll move on to the silver and what's happening in the silver markets, because there's a lot happening there. Now, here's a guy, Mandy Panikin. Don't know, don't care who this guy is. Performed somewhere over the rainbow with students from Staten Island at Zoltron's inauguration. Here you are, right here. This is. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't sing John Lennon's "Imagine." This is what the communists think is going to happen.
Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't we?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Zoltron's coming to usher us in over the rainbow. Isn't it? Isn't it just absolutely fabulous? Fabulous. Over the rainbow. Here is AOC giving her praises to Zoltron. All the commies showed up. I'm surprised Liz Warren wasn't there.
Zohran Mamdani will be the first Muslim mayor of our great city. He will be our first immigrant mayor in over a century. And he will be the youngest mayor of New York City in generations. But most importantly, Zohran will be a mayor for all of us. With that, let us extend our deepest well wishes and support to Zohran, his wife.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. AOC will get more votes than any other candidate in the Democratic primary for 2028 for president. She'll be backed by Bernie Sanders, who won't run again because he's getting old, but he'll be involved heavily in her campaign. She'll get the most votes. Now, will she win the primary? No, I don't know about all that. I don't know. I don't know. Can't answer that because I think Bernie Sanders won the primary the last 3 times, but got cheated out of it. That's what I think. So it'll be fun. Here's a little bit more on the Zoltrons. As he does his thing. Lies, all lies. So Zoltron's there with Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders swore him in. So Zoltron shows off his how he's going to govern. it's not that a little explosive vest can't help. He'll be a martyr for he'll get his 70 virgins. But what if all the virgins are martyrs themselves? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking for a friend. I don't know. And then there's this one. Here is Zoltron as he gives his acceptance speech, and he talks about his good friend AOC.
First of all, I want everyone to know that AOC is not fat. She is probably pregnant or something. I mean, she does look a little fat, but give her a break. It's the holiday season, you know. She probably ate more tacos in Navidad. Anyway, we will be seizing your property, comrades. You know, for the good of the collective and all that. If you have a house, you now have to take in at least 3 families so they can mooch off of you. If you have a car, you will now have to drive them around all day. You will own nothing and you will be happy, okay, comrades? Anyway, everything we touch turns to shit. That is our motto from now on. Thank you very much. Namaste, bitches. First of all, I want everyone to know.
I mean, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. But it's what he meant. Those were AI. They weren't real. I know I'm on Facebook and YouTube right now. That's what you call satire. I know it's tough. It's tough to understand the difference. I know it is. I know you guys struggle with that. But you don't know what satire is. It's okay though. It really is. It's okay. It's fine. But this is not satire. This actually happened. The CNN's live broadcast with Anderson 1247 asked this. This is it says right here, comic Amy Sardines. I don't know who she is. I don't care. But so she's there, and Anderson 1292 asks her, where in 2026 are all the men going to be that you're trying to date? And here's her answer.
Where's the best place to meet a man in 2026?
Oh, really? Well, where's a good place to meet a man? I'd say in the ladies' room, but.
Yep, she's not coming back on CNN. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The best place to meet a man in 2026 is in a lady room where he's dressed like a lady. I don't think those are the kind of dudes you're looking for. I'm just saying, those are just a bunch of preverts. We don't need any preverts around here. So, and then of course, the Somalians, we're going to get into talk about the fraud. This is the Democrats' response. They're doing this all over TikTok right now. This is the Democrats' response to people showing up, and now it's all over the country. It's in Ohio, it's in Pennsylvania, it's in Maine, it's in Washington State. Washington State is now passing laws to prevent this from coming out. It's crazy. This is their response. So we found these daycare centers that are committing fraud against the American people and taxpayers. This is their response.
Hi, I know we're 2 creepy grown men, but can we see the children, please? Excuse me, do your kids go here? No, my kids do not go here, but I need every single child outside of the building now. You Somalians are always just scamming people. You have an agenda, you know that? I need to see all the kids, or we're gonna call ICE. You have 3 seconds. You Somalians are gonna let us in. I knew you guys were up to something ever since I saw one of you in the grocery store a couple days ago. I knew you were up to something, and now I finally have it. I need to see them. I need to see the children. Oh, I know why you don't want us to see the kids. You're probably not citizens. That's it. Let us see the little boys and girls immediately. This is harassment. What department are you from? Nope, this isn't harassment, and I'm from the YouTube department. She locked the door. Well, that proves it. They're scammers because they're not letting me use my LaMonte glasses to film the cute little boys and girls. I knew it. Maybe I should just break in. I need to see the kiddos. I need it.
That's right. They're saying that the Nick Shirley guy is a pedo because he wants to film the children. He doesn't want to film the children. They're ignoring the fact that there are no children. CNN has come out and did an investigation, and they determined that 4 out of the 10 places they visited in Minneapolis did actually have children in it. 4 out of 10. And they're saying, so it's a scam. And now they want to bring up the pedos. You guys really don't want to open that can. You guys really don't want to open that can of pedos as you ignore the 1 million Epstein files that came out Christmas Day. Crickets since then. Crickets. Not a single peep from the mainstream media. They were Epstein all summer, all fall, all through the shutdown. You got the usual suspects, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey, all on MSNBC going, Epstein. And then Donald Trump says, hey, by the way, we found another 1 million files. And they go, what Epstein? I don't know anything about no Epstein. What you talk about? Mm-hmm. Well, this is the same thing. Distracting you, not paying attention. No, you're the pervert. No, you're the pervert. You're the pervert. You don't want to start talking about perverts because God's going to give you exactly what you're asking for. God's going to give you exactly, and that's the purpose of all this, by the way, is God is he says, I'm going to grab you. I'm going to put a hook in your nose and drag you where he wants you to be. Exposure. This is just the very, very, very beginning of this. So right now, let's see. Silver's actually a little down from this. Earlier this morning, silver futures were at 73.77. Looks like we've got a bottom. As much as they've tried to push this down since last Friday, so a week ago, they've tried to push silver down. Silver hit 85, and they tried to kick it down. It dropped almost $10 in like 5 hours, but they have not been able to get it down below $70. They haven't. So it looks like we have our bottom here. And so they're trying to push it down as we speak. The Nasdaq's up 96, SP 500's up 13, Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 39. Gold is trading at 43.56. So the problem is what's happening around the rest of the world. That's where the problem is. And just some interesting thoughts on things that are going on. JP Morgan Chase. I've talked about this before. JP Morgan Chase found an infinite money loophole. Make $100 billion manipulating silver, pay a $1 billion fine, repeat. They did this back in 2020, and they're running it back in 2026. The question is, will we just keep letting them get away with it? So it says right here, JP Morgan Chase agrees to pay $920 million in connection to a scheme to defraud precious metals and U.S. Treasury markets. And I talked about it back then. I'm pretty sure 2020. Yeah, I did. I was on the air back then. I talked about it back then. I mean, I talked about a lot of this stuff before I ever went live and talked about it, but same thing. You notice Tarred Feathers, who probably came on late, so it's not against him so much, is saying he's glad he listened to Tucker Carlson at $15. I'm glad you did too. You probably did well. Anyways, trying to distract. Doesn't change the fact that Mullah Tucker will announce his transition to Islam sooner rather than later. Oh, Mike, why are you being so mean? Well, it is what it is. So here is this is interesting. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Here's the interest. This is interesting. They're rigging silver. This is what's going on around the world right now. It says they're rigging silver to save the banks. The charts say silver is 71. Now it's 73, but give or take a few dollars. What does it matter? But actual prices on the street are much higher. Physical silver in Japan's $130. Physical silver in, I'm not sure where that is. United Arab Emirates is $115. In China, it's $110. But the COMEX paper silver is 71. By the way, the reason that they trade the paper is to manipulate and control the markets. That's the point. That's what this is about. How is this possible? Because silver charts go to 130, the true value. Several banks go insolvent overnight from margin calls and short positions, and their paper contracts to force silver price down and protect them from liquidation. They say we will have no protection. The charts are a lie. What we're witnessing is manipulation on a scale that's never been seen before. When the short positions are offloaded, silver price will go vertical. Now, I was just thinking this as I'm reading that. I'm just thinking this. What they're doing is they're keeping the paper price down so that these banks and heavy investors can liquidate their short positions without too much cost. They've also influxed into the system about $50 billion into the banks in the not in the overnight repurchase agreements, but there's another one. There's another window that they can go to. They put $50 billion into that window over this weekend, and that allows these banks to go get money to cover their shorts because they're going to lose their shorts. So that's happening right now. Well, I don't know about JP moving to Taiwan. I don't think that's accurate. But I do know that JP Morgan Chase lost a lot of money over the summer moving from short positions in silver to long positions in silver. And now they have 750 million ounces of physical silver at JP Morgan. See, don't do what they're telling you to do. Do what they are doing. You see, let me tell you something. All of the Bitcoin bros are really, really excited that JP Morgan Chase, that the Fed, that the other banks, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but the other banks out there, the other big banks, Wells Fargo and the rest, are all opening their own ETFs on Bitcoin. What is the ETF on Bitcoin? It is trading Bitcoin on paper. Instead of going and buying a coin yourself, you can buy an ETF from JP Morgan Chase that says they will secure the coin for you. This is how they get control of a market and manipulate. That's all this is. That's all this is. My father-in-law, Mike says, I started buying silver at $8 an ounce in 2016. My father-in-law started buying silver at like $1.50 an ounce in the 70s. So, yeah, that's fun. He was buying big bars of it. I don't remember, 10 ounce bars or something like that. Yep. He's grumbling at the price today. But I'm like, hey, it's only that bad if you're buying, not if you're selling. So silver, we're in the middle of a silver squeeze that's being manipulated by our own government to protect our own government. That's what's happening right now. Protect our government, protect the big players, the banks. They don't care not one little bit about you and if you get screwed. But God's going to flip this around. Mark my words on that. God's going to flip this around, and it's going to be really bad for them. I don't know if y'all seen this, but Iran is falling apart. Iran is collapsing big time. Here's what's going on. It says, out of 31 provinces, the protests have now spread to 25 provinces, with the possibility of reaching the remaining provinces. Winter is coming to the land of Persia. This is where all the uprising is happening. It says the Khamenei, whatever his name is, sectarian representative regime is collapsing. Some areas of Tehran have gone out of control. In many areas, police forces are unable to contain the anger of the protesters and the increase in their numbers. By the way, what's kicked this off is the total and complete collapse of the currency in Iran. It is completely collapsed. By the way, over the last year or two, there's been massive prophetic word about a uprising in Iran where the people take over and kick out this tyrannical government. Says President Trump will make a decision about Iran soon. That's out there. What are we going to do with Iran? Of course, all of the people, you'll hear it today if you go listen to them. All of the anti-Jews, the Jews are bad, the Jews are evil, the Christians are chosen people, are going to go, Donald Trump's getting into a war in Iran and our children are going to die. They're going to be saying it by the end of the day. Thomas Massey's going to run to the nearest camera and scream and holler about war in Iran with Rand Paul standing behind him. Oh my God, war, our children, war. Let me tell you something. This happened once before. It was the Green Revolution happening in Iran. Our government has taken advantage of these kind of situations all over the world. All over the world. Nicaragua, Venezuela, El Salvador, Serbia, Georgia, Egypt, Syria, and all of the stands all over the world. Our government has fostered these kind of revolutions to overthrow governments they don't like. But when Barack Obama was president, this happened during that they almost overthrew their government, but the American government, even though the American people were screaming for it, gave zero support. Actually gave a bunch of money to the regime to keep them in power. Just remember that. So when these people start screaming that Donald Trump's going to intervene in Iran, we got to protect the mullahs because we're all converting to Islam. And they're the ones paying us through Qatar. When you see that out there, understand what's going on here. Donald Trump isn't talking about sending troops over there. But we are talking about allowing this government to fall and the people to rise up and create their own government. Whatever that looks like. Danish news agencies, sudden flight and disappearance of Iranian military leaders coinciding with protests in Iran. So that's happening. Protesters head towards the central square chanting, "This is the year of blood." And the regime of Ali Khamenei, whatever his name is, the butcher, will fall. Breaking, the Islamic Republic has lost control of every major city in Iran. We will shortly go live, blah, 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 whatever. Tonight is very interesting. Many smaller Iranian cities across the country are not just out, but also battling regime terrorists in the streets. Their strategy is to exhaust regime forces and spread them thin at night while striking during the day. Incredible. Keep going. Nothing happening. Their currency went to zero pretty much. this is happening in cities all across Iran.
درود میفرستم به شما بازاری‌ها و مردمی که خیابان‌های
This is the
گرفته‌اید. وضعیت اقتصادی
exiled king.
زمانی که این رژیم سر کار هست رو به زوال خواهد بود. زمان این رسیده است که همبستگی خود را بیش از پیش حفظ بکنیم. از تمام اقشار جامعه می‌خواهم که به سایر همیهنانتون که در خیابان‌ها هستند بپیوندید و شعار سقوط نظام را سر دهید.
As I said, it prophesies that these people will rise up and take back their government. Heart and Feathers being stupid again. It's Tartan Feather says Iran should have switched to Bitcoin-based currency like El Salvador. Why do I say that's a stupid comment? Because it is. Because El Salvador didn't switch to a Bitcoin-based economy. They switched their government, which switched to a Bitcoin-based economy. The Iranian government's not going to do that. You have to overthrow the government first. You had to get to this point first before you could go to your Bitcoin or gold or whatever you choose to go to. You have to do this first. They did that in El Salvador already. Now it's Iran's turn. Update. This is the Epstein stuff. Update on Epstein files revealed. DOJ lawyers from Maine Justice, FBI, FD, Southern District of Florida, Southern District of New York are working around the clock through the holidays, including Christmas and New Year's, to review the documents in compliance with federal law. It truly is an all hands on deck approach. And we're asking as many lawyers as possible to commit their time to review the documents that remain. Required reductions to protect victims take time, but they will not stop these materials from being released. The Attorney General and the administration's goal is simple: transparency and protecting victims. That's the ones that nobody's talking about. Everybody shut up about Epstein. Epstein, nothing. That just tells me that they weren't really interested in Epstein. They just wanted to get Trump, and they thought they had a chance because they had all those documents from the Southern District in New York that was controlled by James Comey's daughter were all rigged up. They had it all rigged up to blame Trump. They didn't know about these other documents. Now they're like, oh, we need to not talk about that. Stephen Miller, what if I told you your national debt is the tab for the mass looting of American economy and the mass theft of American dream? To which Pepe Deluxe, and he's been jumping on this bandwagon, I think we deserve no income taxes and reparations. Well, that's possible. There's a big movement right now over on X and over on Reddit, especially with the Bitcoin bros types. I'm not paying my taxes this year. I'm not filing and paying taxes this year. Blah. Let me tell you something. If you get a W-2, you've already paid your taxes. They take it out of your check. So when you file for taxes, I'm not going to do it this year. Doesn't matter. They done got your money. And if you got any overtime, they got your money and they owe you some back. So file your damn taxes and get your money back. The money, because the tax, no tax on overtime to $29,000 to $25,000 is retroactive to the beginning of 25, but they didn't change the table by which companies withdrew your money out of your check. So you're entitled to every bit of tax you paid on your overtime pay. How many of you work a job where you get overtime, and when you get your check, you do 10 hours overtime on a 40-hour week, and you get your check and you made less than you did last week when you only worked 40 hours? That's the money you're going to get back when you file your tax. I'm not filing my... These people are stupid. These people are ignorant. They do not understand tax law, finances, probably budgets, or anything else. The state of the American people when it comes to money is ridiculous. At least these Somali pirates know how to live on cash. I'm not going to pay my tax this year. I'm not going to file. You're stupid. If you're on, Carol says, I pay no taxes until I file taxes. If you're on a 1099 or a self-employment or something like that, then that's correct. But if you're on a 1099 and self-employment and you're paying taxes on the money, you're failing to use proper tax management. You have it, Tart goes, 1 million new Epstein files and still no mention of the island being massage hoodie pot operation. Because it wasn't, you idiot. Stop believing the lies people telling you. Stop believing the CIA counter operation, psychological operation against you. Dummy. 2026 is a new year. I'm unleashed and I'm going after it. Epstein was not a Mossad operation. Was not a Mossad operation. It was an American operation. American intelligence operation. Well, I don't believe that, because you don't want to believe that. You don't want to believe that. That's why. And why aren't they talking about it in the media? Why aren't they talking about it? Duh. Come on, man. In the island, blah, blah, blah. By the way, the island is a canard. You know there's 2 islands? Most of you don't even know that. The little St. James Island is a canard. It's the look over here and not over here.
Guys, we just broke the entire Jeffrey Epstein story. If Ace Greenberg brought Jeffrey Epstein into the BCCI deals at Bear, that explains literally everything. It explains Jeffrey Epstein's meteoric rise. It explains why everyone was so charmed by him. Hint, not because of his charm. It explains how in 1982 he's already meeting with major CIA, MI6, Saudi intelligence officials. Doug Lee, Stan Pottinger.
Wait, whoa, hold it. Wait, stop. CIA, MI6, Saudi. You know what's not listed there? The damn Jews. It's all the Jews. By golly gee, you know there's been a problem in our government. Who controlled the Obama administration, the Bush administration, the Clinton administration, and the Biden administration? Who? Who controlled it? The Jews. No, it didn't. Go look and see who the players behind the scene were. Do some damn research. That's what you always tell me. It was the Muslim Brotherhood, which is controlled by whom? Iran, and their government's just about to collapse. The Saudis? Not the Saudi crown prince that's there today. The part of his family, when he came into power, he arrested almost 600 people. That group of Saudis that was working with the Bushes, that was working with the Clintons, that was working with the Obamas. Oh, our country. And you want to know where this propaganda BS hype and blaming all the Jews is coming from right now? It is a PSYOP operation bought and paid for by the Muslims. See, I could do conspiracy too, but I've got more. You take a look at the people that were in the administration under Obama, that were also in Bill Clinton's administration, that were also in George W. Bush's administration, that are either converted Muslims, or like Valerie Jarrett, who is an Iranian. Her mom and dad were Iranian spies. Come on, look it up. Give me that crap.
Saudi intelligence officials, Doug Lee, Stan Pottinger, Adnan Khashoggi, Middle Eastern sheikhs. Oh, it's because he handled BCCI at Bear, handling CIA financing, disguising illegal weapons sales as complex financial transactions for commodities or oil. That explains how Jeffrey Epstein got a specialty in complex financial transactions. Oh, because he got it because he was put on the BCCI account. Well, that explains how he's working with Edgar Bronfman, because BCCI was helping U.S., Saudi, British, but also Israeli interests in the Iran-Iraq affair and in Afghanistan. That explains how he was protected every time he got in trouble with fraud. The Justice Department takes action against Jeffrey Epstein for securities laws violations. Jeffrey Epstein openly says in court that Bear Stearns was actually secretly moving money for the CIA. Well, that can't come out in open court. Okay, let's not move forward with prosecution. Don't want to reveal national security secrets. That explains how Jeffrey Epstein has these French intelligence connection points, how Jeffrey Epstein has these British intelligence connection points, how he's got these Israeli intelligence connection points. That explains how he's got these Saudi intelligence connection points. And that definitely explains how he has all these CIA connection points. They're all connected through the late 1970s Safari Club network that then scaled up BCCI.
Yep, there is some connection with all of them. But not like everybody's saying it's the Jews. No, it's the Muslims. It's not the Jews. It's the Muslims. And everybody else that wanted to cash in on it. I've got something else. Let me see if I can find it connected to this. I got something else connected to this. It was just on the tip of my brain as I was watching that. And it goes to show where all this came from. When all this started. It was a post in the 70s. In the 70s is when our country was taken over, in the 70s. And I'll show it to you. Something I found with all that was just said, that I found connected that seemed really interesting. And if I can't find it, I'll just explain it to you. And it's on my Telegram page somewhere. Let me see if I can find it here real quick, because I didn't have it in my notes to talk about. I just saw it there. I didn't have it in my notes, but I did look something up. So there was a bill passed. I'm not finding it. There was a bill passed in 1980, signed by Jimmy Carter. And it was let me see if I still have that up. It was right there. Yep. The Refugee Act of 1980 established the first permanent systemic U.S. framework for admitting and resettling refugees. Defining a refugee based on UN standards. Somalia, by the way, will be head of the UN Security Council starting today. Based on UN standard, fear of persecution due to race, religion, nationality, politics, and social group, creating a federal refugee resettlement program, including the Office of Refugee Resettlement, and setting annual admission numbers while allowing presidential flexibility for emergencies, moving away from the ad hoc refugee policies. The key purpose of this was unified definition, adopt the UN definition of a refugee, focusing on a person rather than just origin, aligning U.S. policy with international standards, systemic admissions, creating a U.S. refugee admissions program. We need to look into that. U.S. RAP, U.S. RAP, for orderly vetting, admissions, and resettlement. It's going to come out. That's going to come out. We're going to be looking into that. Some kind of fraud and stuff's going to come out of that. Federal resettlement established for Federal Refugee Resettlement Program and Office of Refugee Resettlement, or ORR, to help refugees achieve self-sufficiency. Well, when you set them up in daycare centers and they start raping the government for money, they're pretty self-sufficient. Set a $50,000 annual emission ceiling for the initial years, but gave the presidency authority to exceed it in emergencies requiring consultation from Congress. Asylum procedures provided a way for aliens to apply for asylum if already in the U.S. and allowed asylees to adjust to permanent residency. You know what? That's, you know how if they get here, they get to stay here under the other previous administrations. That's where it came from. That's where it came from. And I got something to point out. Making a point here. Says, into the Vietnam War, the influx of Vietnamese, Cambodian, Laotian refugees after 1975 highlighted the need for a stabilized system, as prior refugee admissions were often handled case by case. Cold War context, the U.S. had historically accepted refugees from communist countries, but lacked consistent framework. So there's this was passed in 1980 on Jimmy Carter's way out the door. Ronald Reagan became president, and then this was law. Now, when we hear all this arguing about, you're supposed to let the refugees in, blah blah blah, it's in the law, it's in the law. We act like this was written in the Constitution. Many of these things were crammed through in the 70s. That's where we lost our country. You know, taking us completely off the gold standard, the silver standard of any kind, 1971. Roe v. Wade, 1971. This law here, the EPA, the National Education Department. All of these things were created in the 1970s. And we act like these are wholly constitutional third rail policies and organizations that we just can't change in any way. Oh my God, we can't touch that. That's embedded in the Constitution. It's not. It's a policy created by us, but it is not embedded in our Constitution at all. But we act like that. Understand the origin of this stuff. This stuff about it's not written in the Constitution, it's written on the Statue of Liberty, which is not constitutional. And it's a poem taken out of context that's on the Statue of Liberty, by the way. And you know what? A statue somewhere don't mean nothing. What's coded in law. And what I'm saying to you is these things, for example, the Supreme Court in this next session starting this month is going to hear birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship started in the 70s. Yeah? You couldn't move here, pop out a kid, and they became American citizen till the same time all this other stuff happened. Think about it. And there was no law passed, no court hearing, nothing. It was a decision created by government agency, just out of nowhere. Okay, we're going to start saying you get the... Why? Why do we have to do that? Why? Well, it's in the Constitution. No, it's not. It's not in the Constitution at all. It is regulation created by fiat, just like our currency. That was a pun, but it's still true. They pass these laws, they do these things, and they say, oh, looky here, golly gee, now we're all subject to it. We all have to obey it. And then we find out that the Somalians are bringing in billions and billions and billions of dollars through these stupid programs, ripping us off blind. And the politicians are turning the other way. Turning the other way. Got them out there in Washington State right now. Hopefully I'll get to it. The AG, the Attorney General in Washington State, has come down and said, if you go out and film these people, we'll prosecute you. Shouldn't you be asking where the damn money is? But no, that's not what they do. Here's Fox News. This is San Francisco. California, you should wake up, start screaming. You should be doing what Iran is doing in California. You guys are nuts. San Francisco.
$5 million payments to eligible Black residents. However, paying for it may take some creative accounting.
Let's see. San Fran mayor signs a bill that could give back residents $5 million each to the Black people. But admits the city's too broke to pay.
As the New York Post reports, the city's admitting it can't sign the checks as it's facing a $1 billion deficit.
Some more news on the money front. Home buyers can usher in 2020.
San Francisco is going to pay every Black person in San Francisco $5 million. So I just decided, it's math. I know it's hard. Math is really hard, and we're not supposed to be able to think in those terms. But I decided, I know it's also racist. Math is racist. I get you. So I just asked. I went to Gronk and I asked, how many Black Americans live in San Francisco? It says right here, 42 to 44,000 Black African American people live in San Francisco, according to the latest census. So since math is racist, I decided to do some. They want to give each of those 42, I took the low number, 42,000 Black American citizens in San Francisco, and give them $5 million. So 42 times 5 million is 2.1 to the 11th power, basically. Or in other words, 100,000 million, $210 billion. By the way, San Francisco is $1 billion in debt. A city, not a state. A city, one city is $1 billion in debt, and they want to write a check for $210 billion to give all the African Americans in their city $5 million apiece. I'm telling you, if you think it's expensive to live in California and San Francisco now, if they were to accomplish that, they have no money. They're $1 billion in debt and they can't print it. That means they're going to turn to the feds and go, please give us $210 million so we can pay off all the Black people. You want to know the fraud, waste, and abuse that's going to come out of that? That 210 estimated amount is going to turn into $1 trillion, which they don't have. I know what they're going to do. Vandenberg Air Force Base out there, they launched their rockets from Vandenberg out there from time to time. They're going to take all these damn $5 million checks and they're going to tie them to the rocket on Vandenberg so they can bounce them and launch that rocket into space. Be cheaper. These people are insane. They are absolutely insane. That's pandering. Let me tell you, if you're living in San Francisco and you're an African American, God bless you, move out while you can. But you're never going to see a check. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Sorry to have to tell you this, but but your government is $1 billion in debt in San Francisco, multi-billion dollars. I think it's hundreds of billion dollars in debt for the state of California. You guys are out of your mind. Out of your ever-loving minds. And you guys need to be in the streets. I'm just saying. And if you want to move to Missouri, God's country, take a look at East St. Louis. That's for you. You'll feel right at home with the gunfires and the sirens and the graffiti and the rest of it. I was born a poor black child. You just can't get that rhythm down, right, Mike? Weren't they in your neighborhood? Well, they was down in Mississippi or someplace. The backwoods. They were in the backwoods either way. Oh, that's the movie The Jerk, if you haven't seen it. Now, here's this guy. So did you hear about what happened the other day? So you got all these fraudsters and their no kids daycare getting millions of dollars ripping off our government. The feds demand the records of all these government paid for daycare centers. The next day, the Leering Center, the one at the middle of the controversy, got broken into.
Somali community, as one video made by a specific individual made this all happen.
It's important to note that this particular daycare center was not featured in Nick Shirley's viral video, but it is one of the dozens flagged to state investigators earlier this year for receiving more than $1 million in funding from federal authorities, and despite having multiple repeated violations on record. While the Minneapolis police are investigating this reported break-in, some federal officials are questioning the legitimacy of those claims. Alex Adams, an assistant secretary at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, who froze childcare funding to Minnesota this week, posted on X, "Crazy coincidence that attendance records are missing one day after HHS Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill requested them from the state of Minnesota." Minnesota Democrats, meanwhile, are continuing to defend their handling of the alleged fraud in the state and attacking the Trump administration for freezing more than $190 million in federal funding as it investigates what prosecutors say could be more than $9 billion of fraud in the state.
We're taking fraud seriously. We're working every day to improve our systems, hold those criminals accountable, and move our state forward. That's why it's incredibly frustrating to me that Donald Trump and Republicans want to use this as a political vehicle to cut funding entirely to our state.
Minnesota's Attorney General Keith Ellison, who is also under fire for the growing alleged fraud, says his office is now exploring legal options to stop the Trump administration from blocking the federal funding for child care services. Mike?
We would follow that showdown. Garrett Tenney.
Yeah, it's terrible what happened to the Somalian the Somalian fraudsters as they here's where they broke in. Part of where they broke in, they knocked the sheetrock out from the inside. Yeah, that's the ticket. That's what they did. How convenient. They broke in. They didn't steal any food. They didn't steal any cashola they had laying around. No. They just stole all the documents that had to do with their budgets and where all the children are. That's what they stole. Oh, we're so sorry it got stolen. Oh. They did change their name, though, from Leering Center to Learning Center. Yeah. Anyways. It's amazing. It's amazing what's coming. If you just pay attention, you can see it. You can see it. Did y'all see this? This happened on New Year's Eve. I didn't see it happen, but they say that it did. I see a video of it. It says a meteor saying hi to the Gateway Arch on New Year's Eve. You can see right there the meteor coming in. Here, let's just pull it up. You can actually see the video here. See, watch it. Here it comes. I know. All you flat earthers say that that's CGI. So I got a question for all the flat earthers who say that when you see stuff like that in space and whatnot, that it's CGI. I got a question for you. How did they CGI the star that the wise men followed? Anyways, I don't know, but it seems interesting. Here's one for you. Here's one for you. Get ready for this. This is going to change your life come 2026. As things start to implode in the economy, this is going to change your life right here. Well, the Patriot Mike Show, what have I been saying since the great toilet paper run of 2020? What have I been saying that you need? You need to buy some silver. You need to buy some gold. You need to keep 2 weeks or so of cash on hand, right? Just get by. Then if it lasts longer than 2 weeks, your cash won't matter. No way. I said you probably should have that high velocity lead. Maybe take a little practice and being proficient in distributing high velocity lead. So I just want to reiterate all that, and I want to remind you, when the system finally crashes, Barack Obama signed legislation in 2010, that's Dodd-Frank's bill, allowing the banks to take your deposit and make themselves whole. Let me say that again. Allowing the banks to take your deposits and make themselves whole. Let me translate that into legalese. They changed the fiduciary agreement between the customer and the bank. Any money deposited within the bank prior to 2010 was your money. The bank just had a fiduciary agreement with you on those bank accounts. After 2010, any monies deposited into a bank became the sole possession and property of the bank. If you don't believe me, wait till the runs start, and the runs are coming. And I don't mean a medical problem. I mean a banking problem. And they tell you can't have your money because it's theirs. Read that again. In 2010, the United States passed the Dodd-Frank's Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act. By the way, the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act is as and equal to the Inflation Reduction Act that was really the Green New Deal Act that failed in Congress. They changed the name to Inflation Reduction Act to spend $2 trillion to lower inflation. You can't spend money and lower inflation. That's not the way it works. Card and Feather says hard to use a debit card without a bank. That's a true statement. But you want to know something? I have one. It's not through a bank. It's through Venmo. It's a debit card. Just saying. That's why I say you need 2 weeks of cash on hand, just in case. The Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Acts, you got to love these titles, right? In this law, they clearly outline how failing financial institutions, aka your bank, are legally allowed to bail in. This law, they clearly outline the failing financial institutions, aka your bank, are legally allowed to bail you in or take your deposits and make them whole. The bank is failing. They have to cover all of those silver shorts. They can take your bank account and cover the shorts. Make themselves whole if their failure represents a systemic threat to the system. So, if the house of cards collapses again, and this time the lender of last resort, the Federal Reserve, can't intervene, well, We know exactly what they're going to do. While it hasn't happened in the United States, you can look at what happened in other countries to understand. When Greece was failing, they took a 20% haircut off of everybody's counts in the banks. So who runs the banks, Tard? You might as well say it because we know that you're a racist. You'd be wrong. Because it's the same people. And it isn't those people. It's the people they don't want you to look at. Here's another one. This Elon Musk says this. I was talking about this earlier. It says, let me get this straight. 1913, 0 Americans paid income tax. In 2025, every family paid income tax, and about 2/3 of it just covered fraud. We become a tax farm for politicians to enrich themselves and anyone they can import to vote for them. A nationwide tax strike rally is planned for January 3rd, 2026. This is the biggest pile of BS I've ever heard because it's not the way it works. Where participants will withhold paying taxes to protest government overreach and mismanagement. And how are they going to do that? The 3rd is tomorrow, Saturday. How are you going to withhold paying your taxes? This form of tax resistance is a method to direct action in civil disobedience, where individuals refuse to pay taxes due to opposition to the government policies or taxation itself. The concept of tax resistance is not new and has been observed in various forms globally, including the recent tax strike in East Jerusalem. Now, the Jews, and the group in Netherlands refusing to pay a portion of their income taxes to protest government subsidies and fossil fuels. First of all, where is East Jerusalem? Who controls East Jerusalem? You know, the other day when they were talking about how in Bethlehem, they, for the first time in 2 years, they had Christmas lights. Oh, the evil Jews were keeping the Christmas lights out of Bethlehem. Except Bethlehem's in the control of the Palestinian authorities and not the Jews. Where's East Jerusalem, by the way? In the Palestinian-controlled areas. Oh. Yeah, do your own research. Well, do some freaking watch the doggone History Channel once in a while. Although they're completely corrupt now. I mean, understand things the way they are. Reality, not your fantasies. They've had to throw the East Jerusalem in there with no explanation because it's the Jews, when it isn't at all the Jews. I wonder who puts that propaganda out. The Muslims? Oh, yeah. But the stupid BS, don't pay your taxes on the 3rd. Every single one of you losers are going to pay your taxes because your boss is going to take it straight out of your check, and you're going to get a direct deposit, and you're not even going to look at the pay stub that they send you. You're just going to go, okay, yeah, got my money, blah. I'm not going to pay my taxes. You stupid idiot. You are paying taxes. They take it out of your checks. Taxes are not due in April, Judy. Your filings are due in April. And 99.9% of the people who receive a W-2 will get money back. Now, if you're self-employed or we got 1099s, that's a different story. You have to pay your own taxes. So I get it. But that's not most of you. That's some of you. Most of the people screaming, I'm not going to pay my taxes, have never even consciously paid a tax in their entire life. Do you know why April 15th is tax day? November, December, January, February, March, April. That's 6 months. It is the entire, the furthest place you can get from when you vote. You cannot get any further away on the calendar from when you vote for the dirty sons of that raise your taxes. Every time you turn around, we need more taxes for the children and childcare. We're not able to fund all the children in the child cares. We need to raise another $100 gazillion to pay for the childcare for the children. And we find out that all that's going over to Somalia to finance Al Qaeda and Democrats and Republicans. All you people screaming and hollering, oh, pay taxes, oh, pay taxes. The Bitcoin bros, I don't pay taxes yet. You got Brad Barton and his thing about, filing incorporation, blah, 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 blah. They call that tax fraud. It's punishable under the law. And, let me tell you something. Those of you that don't have much to take, you probably don't have nothing to worry about. But if I was Brad, my father-in-law fell for that stuff in the 70s. Yeah, this repeat of the stuff that's been going around for a long time. And they garnish his wages. By the way, did you know that the IRS can garnish your Social Security? The IRS and student loans, the only agencies in the United States government that are extra constitutional, that can go after you, seize your assets, take your money with no court. They say, you're guilty, we take your stuff, you have to prove your innocence. So you play that game, you want to play that game. Well, my cousin's brother's nephew's been doing it for 10 years and nothing's ever happened to him. They're just letting the number get big enough to make it worth their while. They're just letting you acquire enough assets for them to take. And they will take them. You better believe it. You ever been to a tax auction sale? A tax sale auction, I should say. Yep, I've been to a couple. It does happen. So don't pay your taxes. It's cool. And I absolutely agree. If you got a legitimate reason to set up, like, for example, if you start yourself a Nueva business, you can set up a LLC or subchapter S, depending on what your attorney says. And then you can you could do some things with that, some tax havens with that. You absolutely can do that. Absolutely agree you should do that. There's legal ways of doing that. But you can't just set up out of nowhere with no reason. They'll come after you for that eventually. This crap about withhold, I'm not, all of these people, unless, like I said, you're a private contractor or you're self-employed, your taxes are taken out of your check. You're just dumb, especially this year. This seems like a psyop to me too, by the way, from the government, from the people fighting against Trump, who need to hold on as much money as they can because Trump is destroying their access to capital so that they can do the evil things that they do in this country. I think this is part of that, by the way. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not. That's it. I'm going to. If you got a W-2 and you work any overtime at all, I highly recommend you go file your taxes, because you're going to get a bigger check back this year, because the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime is retroactive for the whole year of 2025. But they were taxing you. They were taking it out of your checks as if it wasn't there. Now, see, Mike's he's just stooging for the government. He's a Jew lover and a Zionist. He just wants you to pay more taxes. No, I'm talking about reality. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass because you think you want to hear it. I'm talking reality. You want to listen to that other stuff, Phil Godowski's out there, go listen to him. Other folks are out there, go listen to them. They'll tell you all about it. You can go do what they want you to do. The Marines joking about Nasera Jacera. Right, you can go chase all the Nasera Jaceras, max out your credit cards, do all that stuff. I have friends that did that. The credit cards are still maxed out. They're still making the payment. There's no free rides. We live under a curse from God. When he brought Adam and Eve out of the garden, he says, you will till by the sweat of your brow the ground for your food, for your sustenance. Some of us don't till the ground anymore, but we still have to work for it. That's the way that it is. There's no free ride. There's no savior coming that's going to give you a gazillion dollars unless you live in San Francisco and you're black and pay off all your debt, pay off all your credit cards. Yeah, Carol, that's why you need, and I know my mom's out there watching, why you need to fill out your tax forms. Of course, I don't fill out tax forms. You don't want the dyslexic guy doing tax forms. I write a check to somebody to do it. But that's why you want to do it, because they tax your doggone. By the way, who started taxing your Social Security? Those evil Republican Jews? Who started taxing your Social Security? Somebody put it in the comment section. Where did the tax on Social Security come from? Read my lips. I just couldn't do it. I just looked, and I stayed up all night long trying to find a way. I know I told you I wasn't going to raise your taxes, but I just could not find a way to do it. I tried real hard. Me and Monica, we worked in the old office all night long, really hard, smoking them cigars. We just couldn't. We had the little visor, the green visor things on. We just couldn't. We just couldn't do it. Just couldn't. That's a hint. That's a hint. Who raised your Social Security taxes? Before then, there wasn't any. Well, that's not true. I think it passed a few years before, but it was very small. But yeah. I just couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. Bunch of liars and thieves. By the way, the Republicans went along with it. Oh, I'm sure that the Thomas Masseys and the Rand Pauls of the day ran to the microphone and said, how dare they do this to our senior citizens? It's terrible. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, Tom Daschle. Yeah. Did you make the reservations at the steakhouse? I'll buy you. I got you. I got you. First scotch is on me. You know how they used to talk about reaching around the aisle? It is fairly new. Social Security used to not be taxed. You know, it's kind of like this. I come to you and I say, I'm going to give you $100 out of my benevolence because I love my fellow man. So here's 70. And you're like, but you said 100. I know, but I had to tax you. By the way, that's Social Security. I thought it was yours. I thought it was in a lockbox, according to Al Gore. They're waiting for you with your name on it right there. How are they taxing it? I thought it was yours. You paid into it with taxed money, I thought. Yeah. No, it's not yours. There was never a lockbox. Social Security, for those of you new to my show, started approximately 2 or 3 years after they busted Mr. Ponzi. You know, Mr. Ponzi invented the Ponzi scheme. Actually, he didn't. It was just named after him. The schemes like that, you know, had been going on before. Mr. Ponzi started the International Stamp Corporation. And if you invested $100 with Mr. Ponzi in the International Stamp Corporation, he would take your $100 and trade internationally postage stamps, and he would give you a return on your investment of around 50%. So that in 60 days, he would pay you $150, or you could roll it over and he'd keep making you money. And it was great. The first people got in, they got their $150 checks on their $100 investment. They're like, let's do it again. Let's roll it again. See if we can't flip that money one more time. And people were making money hand over fist. It was awesome. It was great. Mr. Ponzi was all over the place Ponziing until it started to collapse. Because the last guy to get in, he didn't make his money back. And it all evaporated and dried up. And they busted him. They named it a Ponzi scheme after him. And then they said, say, he was living high on the hog, taking the money off the top. I wonder if we did that, if it would work. So they started the Social Security system where every single employee pays a little bit in out of their check. Don't worry, we'll take it straight out of your check. You'll never notice it. And it's going to go into a lockbox with your name. It's going to be a retirement fund with your name on. Take care of you in your old age. Yes. Let's see here. The average American lives to be 63 years old. So when you turn 62, you get your money. Actually, I think it was younger. That was like 58 to begin with. But the average life expectancy was like 57. They keep increasing the life expectancy. They're talking, there's actually politicians right now talking about raising the Social Security life expectancy to 100. That'll keep it sovereign. Because it was never meant to pay you out. Ever. When it first started, it was like 25 to 1. 25 people paying into one person receiving. Today, it's one person paying to 1.5 receiving. And soon it'll be 2 or 5 or 10. Yeah, mule. But the politician keeps getting richer. Yes, it's the biggest fraud they ever perpetrated on the American people, other than maybe the Somalians. No, probably not. Somalians aren't. We American people are so dumb and I mean this generally, so duped into believing. You talk to my parents' generation and you say what I'm saying right now, they'll stone you to death. It's not, it's my money, it's sitting there for me. No, it's not. In the 70s, well, all this stuff happened in the 70s. In the 70s, they passed a law and put it into the general fund. It just goes into the big ball of money. Yeah, I have never counted on Social Security being there for me because I know that it's going to go broke because it's a Ponzi scheme. It has to. The question is, what goes broke first? The Social Security system or the dollar? I don't know which comes first. You know, and I used to say on the show all the time, those of you who started in the beginning in the great toilet paper run of 2020, you heard me say that if you're on government subsistence of some kind, you better find another way. You better find something, a side gig, something that you can make a little extra money on, because pretty soon that check's going to bounce. Well, they don't do checks anymore. They do direct deposits, and they're not going to bounce. They'll just deposit it, and everybody will accept it as reality. But at $762 you get, that $762 you get from the government, whatever it is you get, when the dollar goes away, when they do some of the things that they're talking about doing with the dollar, if they revaluate the gold to $16,000 an ounce, and you go into the grocery store and you got $762, you can't buy a carton of egg with it. You can't buy butter with it. You can't buy bread with it because it won't be worth anything. So it's not going to bounce. It'd just be worthless. This tax stuff that they're doing right now, that they're saying is getting people all hyped up on, oh, I'm not going to pay my taxes. It's the biggest mumble jumble fraud that's ever perpetrated on our. You already paid your taxes, dummy. That's why I said buy silver. Take whatever extra money you have and take that extra money and put it in something that will retain value. Whatever that is, you could choose to do it. I tell the story about my Russian friend who told me a story about hanging out, playing with stacks of rubles when they became worth nothing. Because the Russians didn't believe in banks. They kept their money themselves. And when in 1993 or 91, I guess, but it was 93 before it all got sorted out. And the Union Soviet Socialist Republic collapsed and became the Russian Federation. The ruble collapsed. And overnight they ended that currency, just went to zero, no more, and they issued a new currency overnight, like that. Before it happened, my friend's uncle came to his dad and said, take all your money and buy stuff with it. It's going to collapse. He didn't do it. His uncle went out and bought a bunch of cars and parked them around his house. When the collapse happened, his uncle was able to sell his cars for whatever they were worth in the new currency. Preservation of wealth. Well, yeah, but he paid $5,000 a piece, 5,000 rubles a piece for the car, and then he only sold them for 150 rubles. Yeah, but 5,000 rubles in the old currency was worth one car. 150 rubles in the new currency was worth one car. If they come along and they say, okay, we're going back to the silver standard. One American dollar is worth 1 ounce of silver. You're all going to be screaming at me, oh my God, I bought it at $71.29 and now it's only worth $1. Well, hear me out. After about 6 months of pain, when things start getting straightened out, you'll be able to take your dollar with $1. Well, I'll give you an example. My mom's still on here. Take a quarter and go watch a couple of movies and buy a thing of popcorn. Because a quarter, if we reevaluate at $71 right now, we reevaluate the dollar to 1 ounce of silver, that's worth $71. So a quarter of $70 is what? 15 bucks, 20 bucks? See, 2, 4, 80 bucks would be 20, so it's 15 bucks, give or take. How much it costs to go to a movie? You see the way that works? That's why I say buy silver. It's not about gaining wealth in dollars. Everybody's, oh, look how much money I made in dollars. It's about preserving wealth in dollars. And I saw your comment, Mom. You know, we all take care of you. Me and Gene, we got you. Don't worry about it. Let me just read this to you before we end the show today. Update, we're living through history right now. Ed Steer on the silver crisis. Precious metal expert Ed Steer just gave one of the most urgent interviews of the year. The message is clear. The 50-year price management scheme is ending. That's the one that started in 1971. The parabolic run was just the tip of the iceberg. The party is just getting started. The driver, historic short squeeze. U.S. bullion banks have covered 29,000 COMEX short contracts since April. For the first time in history, they are now net long silver. But they still hold a massive gross short position of 18,000 contracts. And they are in the lose-lose situation. This is just the beginning, said Ded Butler. Bonfire of silver shorts and shorts are in dire straits. The unstoppable physical reality. We are entering the 6th consecutive year of structural supply deficit. China now export controls effective yesterday require a license to ship out silver. They control 60% of global refined supply. Let me just stop right there. I was reading something earlier. In order to get a license to export silver, you had to have exported 80,000 tons a year over the last 10 years. If you haven't done that, you will not get a license to export silver in China. You know how many Chinese companies exported that much? 0. So effectively, they cut off the exportation of silver. The Shanghai physical premium is 13.8% above COMEX. They just can't refine it fast enough. Why this isn't 1980 or 2011. This time is totally different. This is a structural supply demand deficit. It will be with us for 5, 10, or 15 years. The silver needs to fill this deficit, has yet to be discovered. All the discovered known silver today doesn't cover the short. On price strategy, a 3-digit silver price is going to put a lot of trading houses in insolvency immediately. $500 an ounce is not unreasonable. $500 an ounce of silver is not unreasonable. Lord. That'll be fun. And could become a new floor. I have physical silver in a vault, and I ain't going to be selling an ounce of it. It's pure wealth. Silver's needed to fill this deficit has yet to be discovered. Silver miners, the bargain of the century. So that's why for the last several years, Robert Kalinowski has been saying invest in silver mines. Now, it's a too risky thing for me. I ain't doing it, but I'll buy the silver. They have horribly underperformed the metal, up only 1.14 versus silver's 158% gain. I have the impression that there's somebody out there definitely suppressing the price. Bottom line, the desperate short covering and unbreakable physical deficit are colliding. Paper markets control is over. True price discovery is ahead. We need to discover the true price. And it's going to go to the moon, as they say over there at Bitcoin. By the way, let me point something out to you. Every currency on the planet is a derivative of gold. Whether it's Bitcoin or some other state fiat currency, it is a derivative of gold, because Bitcoin and every other currency, every other fiat, no value of itself currency, if you're buying lead or copper or silver or gold or platinum or whatever, that's a difference. That's different than what I'm saying. I'm talking about the fiat stuff. They're all derivative of gold. How come? Because they count their value in dollars, and dollars are derivatives of gold. Whether it's fiat, they're still based on a gold standard of $42.40 an ounce of gold, which is entirely Barbara Streisand, Bernie Sanders, but it doesn't matter. So when the dollar goes crazy and gets to the point where it goes 0 towards gold and 0 towards silver, meaning for a short period of time, no one on the planet will give you their dollars or derivatives of dollars for your gold, for their gold. There's no way. We ain't trading you our gold for your currency. It ain't worth anything. Every currency on the planet will go to 0. Crypto will go to 0. Everything will go to 0 against gold. That day will come. And then we'll have to have a new currency. Oh, I don't know what that looks like. Nasera Jacera. No. Nasera Jacera will probably cause it to happen if it was real. Not the way things work. Carol says only silver is a superconductor. That's another thing. Here's the other thing. Silver and gold never change their properties no matter what. If you turn silver into jewelry, it's still silver. You turn it into coins, it's still silver. You turn it into electronic parts, it's still silver. It never changes its property. Same thing with gold. You bury a bunch of fiat in the ground. You bury fiat in the ground. You bury your flash drive with all your crypto on it in the ground. Go back to it 20 years from now and see what you got left. You bury silver or gold in the ground, it's silver and gold. It never changes. The difference between silver and gold is that silver as a commodity is used up inside electronics, inside your solar powers, your batteries, your Teslas, all this stuff. By the way, Samsung has come out with a new battery for your phones, a new battery for your cars, a new way of storing energy in a battery that is heavily reliant on silver. It's a new technology. It'll allow your cars to go 600 miles. It'll allow your phones to not have to be charged for 6 months. And you can charge your car in about 10 minutes, fully charged from nothing to 10 minutes with this new technology that they just announced. But they got to have way more silver. Way more silver. It's going to cause huge demand on silver. So this is why I've said all along to buy another means to store your wealth. You know, real estate is another means to, although real estate's high right now and it's going to correct. There's only so much land, especially if you're on a flat earth. There's only so much land, and it's going to be worth something to somebody. It isn't about making money. What I'm talking about is not about getting rich, not about betting on the future. It's about preserving that which you have. That's what it's about. Think in those terms. Patriot missiles use a lot of silver. Samsung is buying from a mine in Mexico. Yes, Samsung just helped reopen a closed mine that wasn't making a profit at $10 silver many years ago. They just invested billions of dollars into this mine to get it going again, and they bought all the contracts with the mine. So the first $150 billion that's mined out of that mine goes to Samsung. By the way, you'll see more of this. You'll see a lot more of that right there. Circumventing the distribution of silver completely. These big companies are going to make deals with mines. By the way, that's the way it used to be done. It's the way it used to be done 100 years ago, before we got the fake money, before we got all of this derivatives, before we got all of this paper trading. It's the way it used to be done. The company would come in and they would say, we need the raw ore or whatever it is, and they would buy it. The production. You know, Ford owned everything, right? They owned the mines where they got the ore to make the steel. They owned the melter to make the smelter to make this to make the steel. They owned the rubber plants. They owned everything. Charcoal came because it was not. I mean, people used charcoal for years, but Kingsford charcoal specifically, that brand, came about because Ford built most of their Model Ts and Model A's was made out of wood, and they had all the scraps, and he wanted to, I'm wasting all this money in scrap, so he bought this little fledgling charcoal company and named it Kingsford, and started producing charcoal with the scraps from the hardwoods that they were making the cars out of. Then he started giving away little barbecues with every Ford purchase, and then and a bag of charcoal, and said, this is where you go buy the charcoal, and created the barbecue market. It used to be that way, but it's not anymore. Kim Clement's A Simple Stone Prophecy. It could be silver and not gold, but he does say gold in the prophecy. I have no idea what that means. Just watch for it, and when it happens, give God the glory. Same thing with what I was saying about Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and AOC and the stuff that I said. If you watched my show that aired yesterday, that I recorded a couple days ago with Charlie, wood cars absolutely caught on. Most of the 20s, the cars were made out of wood. Just get prepared for what's coming. Don't let it catch you off guard, no matter what the people say. It's Friday. It's a new year. Enjoy the weekend. Have a great time. I'm going to go watch the Chiefs lose their last game to the Raiders. There you go, Roman. The Chiefs will be playing. I think they got a bunch of college kids to come in and play because everybody's hurt. I'm just messing. You guys have a great day. Enjoy the weekend. Get ready because life as we know it's going to change forever. In the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you're going to be blown away. Yeah, that's true. Go buy some extra cans of Beanie Weenies while you still can. Patriot Mike is out.